Hi, everyone. So I'm Fred. Like Rainer said, I'm a full-time independent trader, and I've been trading mostly my own money for more than 10 years now. So some of you may know me through my Twitter account because I'm quite active there at Lone Stock Trader, or my website, lonestocktrader.com. So I'm specialized in and have almost only traded individual US stocks using a techno fundamental trading strategy that I actually developed myself. But today with you guys, I'm going to talk about something that is almost never talked about, yet the vast majority of independent traders out there are striving for, regardless of what they trade and regardless of their trading style. And that is trading for a living. I've been blessed to be able to trade for a living for more than 5 years now. So I thought I would share with you today my experience, what my experience has been so far, and about making a living from trading as an independent trader. The word independent part is actually quite important because like most of you, I'm what they call a retail trader. So I've never traded for a financial institution. I don't work for a fund. I don't have a hedge fund, and I don't even have a financial background for that matters. I know that many traders come to me and ask me how is life like as a full-time trader and how to get there. And to be really honest, in my 10 years of trading, I've only met like a handful of other retail traders that are from kind of a bit misleading because full-time trading doesn't mean trading full-time. Full-time trading only means that your main source of income is derived from trading, nothing more. Nowadays, actually, trading takes me only about 1 or 2 hours a day, actually, on average during the week. So today, my presentation will have two main parts. The first part will be about my own experience as a full-time independent trader. What I noticed throughout the years is that the vast majority of traders who have this goal, they have three main reasons for doing so. The first one is that they want more freedom, they want more money, and they want to be independent. In this first part, I will take you through those three reasons from my own perspective after 5 years of having traded for a living. And in the second part of the presentation, I'll talk about how to get there, how to become a full-time independent trader. And we'll go through knowing your why, focusing on trading well, and we'll end the presentation with the capital. So the capital needed to go full-time and how to get there faster. All right, so let's get right into it, and we'll start talking about freedom. So one of the very first reasons why most people are attracted to trading is for the potential freedom that trading is so widely advertised to bring to your life, right? And to be honest, to be really honest, since it's been my situation for the last 5 years, I can tell you that yes, the freedom is actually really awesome. I can't deny that. So for instance, I have my own schedule. My screening and trading process takes me about 1 or 2 hours a day. So I get to decide when and whether I'll do some more trading related research. I can go to the gym or I can go for a run whenever I want. I don't have to commute to work since I can work from literally anywhere as long as I have my laptop and access to an internet connection. I can travel whenever I want to. I've been to quite a lot of countries actually in the last couple of years, though it's been more difficult lately since I've just become a father 6 months ago. So now instead of traveling, I get to spend a lot of time with my baby girl at home, which is pretty awesome. Also, I absolutely love avoiding the crowd. So I get to run my errands and ride public transportation off peak time when everyone else is actually at work. Also, I get to get on short trips, meaning for me, since I live in Bangkok, getting out of the city during the week and not during the weekends when all the hotels are fully booked and there is traffic jam everywhere. And last but not least, I don't have a boss. I don't need to deal with customers. I don't need to manage employees. I don't need to do marketing, and I don't need to manage product inventory, etc. So that's, I would say, a pretty rosy picture of being able to trade for yourself, right? To be independent, full-time trader. So, but actually, I can tell you that my life is very different from the trading lifestyle of marketers that you see on Instagram or YouTube, for instance. A good example is that there is no way that I'm gonna trade from a swimming pool because first, I wouldn't be able to clearly see my screens. And second, I can't afford to risk my laptop to fall in the water or on the floor every time I go to the swimming pool. My laptop is actually not cheap, and I really, really don't want to break my laptop right when I'm in the middle of placing a stop loss order, for instance. Also, I don't drive a Lamborghini. I don't withdraw stacks of cash that I put in front of my screen or on my desk when I'm trading, like you can see on Instagram. Also, I don't have dozens of screens. And I can tell you that traveling while trading can be really inconvenient at times, especially because of trading hours. Your schedule can be a bit out of whack when you travel, and you can forget about doing some extensive trading related research where you need to be really focused for hours without distraction. And lastly, also you depend on a good internet connection. So if you're flying or sightseeing, or if you're in the middle of nowhere, well, good luck trading. So on top of being very different from the supposedly dreamlike lifestyle advertised on social media and by brokerage firms as well, the freedom trading brings to your life actually comes at a cost. It is some kind of a double-edged sword, I would say. From my own experience and also from the many traders I've met, I can tell you that the freedom independent trading provides is, in my humble opinion, not for everyone. It was actually very tough for me at the beginning because trading is a very serious business and it can easily take 50, 60, or even more hours a week in your first couple of years when you're trying to become consistently profitable. And even when you are finally consistently profitable, as you will always need to work on your edge because markets are ever changing, right? You will still need to put on a lot of hours of work. Trading is a very competitive business, and if you're not working on your edge, I can guarantee you that someone else is. So I don't know if you had much experience working for yourself. Maybe you've been an entrepreneur, but it can be both a very rewarding experience and a living nightmare if you can't adapt to environmental and mental changes that suddenly impact your life. So when you work for a company, for instance, there is a structure. You are led into following that structure that has very specific hours, that has a specific hierarchy. You know exactly who is your boss, you know who are your team members, you have detailed tasks and duty, right? So many actions in such a structure usually, I say usually, do not require too much thoughts since you just follow the rules put in place by your company, right? And when you first step into the trading arena as a retail trader, well, all of a sudden, there is no one to tell you what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and no one to keep you accountable for your actions or your lack of action. So you find yourself with a complete freedom to do or not do what you don't really know you're supposed to do, right? I think that was a bit confusing, but you get my point. And this can be very tough for most of us who have been raised in more or less well-defined structures, starting with our family, school, university, society, and the company you're working for. I even know a couple of very high-profile traders who used to work for big banks, right? They were trading millions of dollars every day, and they could literally not trade anymore, profitably anymore, once they were on their own, because they didn't have the working and risk structure that was in place at the firm. They had the discipline, but they lacked self-discipline, which is one of the most important skills to have if you want to be your own boss, in my opinion. So trading for a living can be very challenging until you create yourself a structure that will allow for better work ethics, better time management, and better self-discipline. It took me literally years to change and adapt, but I now have a very specific routine that includes trading, trading research, family time, exercise, and leisure time. The most difficult part for me actually was the self-discipline part. If you don't develop your self-discipline muscle, you'll never be able to make it in this business, in my opinion. By the way, self-discipline is simply being able to do what you have to do, even when you don't feel like it, and doing it consistently. So there is no one over your shoulder instructing and keeping you accountable for learning this concept, or reading that book, or recording your trades, or reviewing your past trades, or doing that thing that you really don't feel like doing, but is actually key to your development as a trader, right? So you have to become your own boss. You have to become your own instructor. You have to become your own teacher. And that is something that not everybody is actually ready to do. All right, moving on. Now we're gonna talk about money. So a couple of years back, I reached that point where my average yearly trading profits covered much more than my yearly living expenses. And to me, that was and still is pretty awesome, because not only I can live off my trading, but my trading account, ergo my net worth, grows quite rapidly thanks to the power of compounding, right? And I said quite rapidly because do not expect to double your account every year. The handful of very best money managers in the world, they have the average yearly returns of between 20 to 40%, right? So since in trading, you make money with money, as long as you're profitable, your quote unquote salary is potentially uncapped, unlike a regular job. So in theory, with a profitable trading strategy, it's only a matter of time before you reach almost any realistic financial goal that you have. And that is really powerful in my opinion. But you probably know very well that trading can be a very stressful activity. Your hard-earned money is on the line after all. And to most of us who associate money with security and being able to survive in this world, it can be quite tough on your psyche, triggering a lot of deeply ingrained emotions, resulting in stress, which in turn makes trading even more difficult than it already is, right? And I can tell you that when your ability to pay for your living expenses and taking care of your family solely depends on your ability to generate money trading, it can become psychologically very difficult, even more than it already is. It makes you much more prone to focus on the outcome of a trade, and also, for instance, making it even harder to let your winners run, and also make you absolutely freak out and even become depressed when you hit the inevitable drawdowns and losing streaks along the way. So I personally have had to do a lot of work on myself, on my mindset, to be able to reframe many of my old beliefs and kind of rewire my brain to automatically focus on the process, on the execution, instead of the money. And this is what makes trading so difficult, in my opinion. When we focus on the outcome of a trade, even though it is the task at hand, it is the execution part that will determine your long-term results, regardless of the outcome of one trade. Oh yeah. There is another very important thing that I need to mention, and that point is that please do not believe for a second that you can create yourself consistent revenue stream from trading. I see that every day on social media where new traders are searching for the holy grail strategy that will allow them to generate money every day, every week, and every month. But let me tell you something straight. There are many profitable trading strategies out there, but none of those profitable strategies will work all the time. They will all have cycles, right? where they will get in and out of favor in the markets. So unless you're, let's say, an HFT machine, right, a high frequency trading machine, I can tell you that it's almost impossible for retail traders to make money every month, or let alone every day. If you're searching for a strategy that will generate regular returns, I think the best strategy is probably to keep your regular job. In my case, though, I've been blessed to make money every single year since I've been trading full-time. It can sometimes be months, several months before my strategy gets back into the market's favor. And if I had the mindset of really needing to generate money every single month, I wouldn't have had the patience required, I think. And I would have probably already blown up my account and probably gave up on trading. So please, please do not listen to the self-proclaimed trading guru who claims that claims a 90% win rate strategy, for instance, that can generate money for you every single month. It's highly, highly unlikely. $1 spent equal lower returns. Yeah, another point about money and trading for a living is that, as I mentioned before, you use money to make money, right? So every single dollar you spend is $1 less to put in your trading account. Again, forget about that Lamborghini. Not only is every dollar spent $1 lost, that could have been compounded down the line and worth, I think, possibly worth a lot more in a couple of years, right? But big expenses such as Lamborghinis are just trading account killers. The Lambo is gonna lose 30% of its value as soon as you put your foot inside, right? Whereas Lambo money, meaning the money equivalent of a Lamborghini in your trading account, could be actually enough for you to live off your trading. And of course, a Lamborghini is just an example, of course. So even if you have $1 million in your trading account, I would say that don't count on buying very expensive stuff like advertised by very shrewd marketers on social media. But yeah, one could argue that you could take a long-term lease or borrow money from the bank, right? Well, if like me, you're a retail trader who doesn't have a regular job, well, good luck borrowing from any bank, because most banks are actually focused on your monthly income. This point actually, which once again is seldom talked about, can be a big drawback for people with a family, for instance, looking to buy a house or even a car. So my advice in that case, which should not be taken as anything else but advice since I'm not a financial advisor, is again to treat trading as a business. And that means opening a company or a partnership through which you will trade, and also you will get a monthly salary. That's actually how I recently structured my trading. I think the world is not yet ready for those kind of unique jobs, which are still in gray areas, right? As a full-time trader, I very often find myself in unique cases like that, where it's very difficult to find solutions on the internet because very few people are in my case. And up until recently, before I had my company, I had to check the box unemployed when I was filling out a form. So to summarize this part on money, yes, definitely the money is great since you can compound your money unlike any other job, which means that your salary is virtually uncapped. In my own case, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that I will be worth several $1 million in a couple of years. It's just a matter of time. But the pressure to perform when your survival is linked to your trading results, or the expectations of a more or less regular income, this can greatly impede your ability to deliver, in my opinion. So you have to learn to detach yourself from the money aspect when you're trading. So please, please do not do like what I see on Instagram. Do not put stacks of cash around when you're trading. Focus on execution, not on the money. If you focus on the execution, well, money will follow. All right, now let's talk about being independent. So as I mentioned before, I absolutely love being independent. I don't depend on anyone else to make money. I don't have to report to a boss or deal with angry customers. So it's all great when things go very well, right? But it can be not so great when things go south. Being independent means that you are fully responsible for both your successes and failures. When you fail and you are independent, you basically forfeit your right to blame someone or something else. And although it might sound very reasonable, I think most of us have been raised in a way in which our very first reaction, right, the very first automatic response we have when something goes wrong is to look for something outside of us, for someone else or something else to blame. And in some people, it's actually so deeply ingrained that it can be extremely challenging and will take a lot of time to be able to change their response. But the thing is that since no one else will keep you accountable for what needs to be done in order to get back on the right track with your trading, there is no other way than taking full responsibility if you want to make it. And since no one is here to point fingers at you when you're making a mistake, it actually makes it even more difficult not to blame the market, to blame your broker, to blame other market participants, the algos, HFT, Trump, etc. It's very important to understand that this is not about being right or wrong, right? It is true that the action of the market is out of your control, but by focusing on blaming someone or something else, you greatly reduce your chances that you will focus on what really matters, focus on finding solutions, focus on the variables that you actually have control over in order to reach consistency as a trader, right? And by the way, when I say taking full responsibility, it's really not limited to the action of trading itself, or your mathematical edge for that matters. It's also being really serious about trading itself, really treating like a business your life depends on. Taking full responsibility is also, for instance, using several brokers in case one of your broker is down, so you can hedge your positions. It's having several laptops in case your laptop breaks. It's creating a business entity to be more tax efficient. It's about finding ways to make your process faster and more efficient. It is about taking several days or weeks to review all your past trades and really discover what are your strengths and weaknesses, and so on and so on. And once again, it is taking full responsibility because no one but you cares about whether you actually take decisive action to treat your trading like a real business, right? No one but you cares about whether you get out of bed. No one but you cares about whether you follow your strategy, and no one but you cares if you lose all your money. We can't deny that we are social animals, right? We seek the comfort of being with other people. It comforts us to know that we are not alone doing something, that we're not alone to think a certain way, that we're not alone when we fail, and that we sometimes get better results than others. The problem with that in trading is that trading, as I said before, is a very competitive game. We're trying to exploit tiny edges in the market. And therefore, the more people expect something to happen and position themselves accordingly, the less likely it is to occur. The same principles actually apply to trading setups, trading ideas, trading strategies, etc. So although we tend to see confirmation of a trade idea by people we respect, and even sometimes from random stranger on social media, the more people agree with you, the less likely a trade will work. And the same goes with trading strategy. The more popular one strategy is, and the easier it is to actually follow it, the more likely it will lose its edge, and as more and more people will try to exploit it. That is something very counterintuitive in trading, and it took me actually years to really accept and really internalize that concept. And yeah, we all know the statistic that 90% of active traders lose money in the markets. So that means that you have absolutely no choice, if you want to make a living from trading, to be different and to develop independent thinking by being able to find your own trading strategy, to find your own trading ideas, by developing your own process, and by distancing yourself from the pack, from the herd, in order to be able to finally observe the herd from a distance and be able to actually take advantage of it. On top of that, although it is great to have free time when others are working, again, we're social animals. We love other people's company. But lots of your friends won't be available when you are, and you won't have many people available to talk to and to hang out with during the week. And talking trading ideas and setups can even mess up with your ability to follow your trading strategy. That's my experience, actually. So there is a bit of a conundrum here because we crave community, we crave acceptance as humans, but as traders, this community, this need for acceptance can be at direct odds with profitable trading. So this all can feel very lonely at times. Trading for a living is a lonely business because once again, you have no boss, you have no employees, you have no colleagues, you have no customers. There are not so many people around you you can talk trading with, and talking trading ideas and setups can actually mess up with your performance. So in order not to get sucked into the loneliness trap that could, for some people in extreme cases, even result in depression, I made actually several changes to my life. The first change I made is actually creating myself a daily fitness routine, which consists of running and lifting weights. This allowed me to really improve my general well-being, to have another activity besides trading, and also allowed me to make new acquaintances as well. I made actually a couple of new friends at the gym. And as a side note, people who have the time to exercise when other people are working they oftentimes are a very interesting bunch. The other thing I added to my everyday life is a daily meditation practice. This has allowed me to be less ego-centered and be more able to put things into perspective because at the end of the day, life is not only about you. Life is not only about how you feel. Also, I decided to share my experience as a full-time trader since there aren't so many out there. I thought that it could be interesting to some people. So I launched my website and created a Twitter account where I shared my thoughts and my experience about trading. And I quickly noticed that quite a lot of people actually showed a keen interest in reading my blogs and my tweets. This also in turn gave me another purpose, right? As many people wrote to me and sometimes even told me that how a certain concept I shared helped them on their trading journey. And this can be very rewarding. And not only did I find really real joy in actually helping others even a little bit, sharing my thoughts also really helped me structure them in a more efficient way in my mind. And it also really helped me moving on much more quickly through these inevitable and recurring periods when market conditions are not conducive to your trading strategy. So although many people are talking about the negative impact of social media, I think in the end, social media is just a tool, right? It's just like a knife or a smartphone. It is how you use it that will either help you or hinder you. And I can tell you that used correctly, social media is a fantastic tool that will allow you to expand your knowledge, expand your mind, and also allow you to meet very interesting people along the way. And that's actually how I met Rainer, whom I actually met through Twitter at first. So I think it is important to highlight the fact that trading for a living can be a very lonely endeavor, and you need to change quite a few things in your life to adapt to this new environment. And my final point about independence is that you are never really independent. You actually do have a boss, and your boss is the market. You have to trade during certain hours. It is the market that will decide whether your strategy is in or out of favor and for how long. And in the end, it is the market that will determine how much you will make. You're depending on something that you have absolutely no control over. And that can be quite difficult and stressful for most people. All right, so that was my own experience about the three main reasons why lots of people want to be able to trade for a living. And as we saw, there is both good stuff and difficult stuff. And the difficult stuff is something that we almost never talk about. Now let's move on to the second part of this presentation, which is about how to get there. What, in my opinion and my own experience, are the steps required if you want to reach the point where you can live off your trading. Knowing your why, with the benefit of hindsight and interacting with many traders on a daily basis, I can tell you that although the value is true about the real reason why they want to do so, why they want to reach that point. And the why is actually extremely important in my opinion, because it is the why that will make or break you during the many years of going through the tough learning curve of trading. And I just said many years and tough learning curve. I didn't speak about a couple of months or that just learning a trading strategy will make you profitable. No, I'm not like marketers trying to sell you the follow my 10 steps and make shit tons of money trading. No, I'm telling you like it is. The learning curve is tough in trading. And even when you finally enter the small club of traders who are profitable, trading will still be very challenging. I actually don't think there will ever be a point where trading becomes really easy. And I've been doing that for more than 10 years now. So to go back to the why, it is, in my opinion, only with a strong why that you will keep faith and believe that you can get to your goal when things get real tough. And they will be. Just an example, just wanting to be rich or wanting to have more free time or wanting to be able to travel a lot, well, I don't think it's going to cut it, because in the first couple of years, I mean, you're gonna need to spend many, many hours on your trading. So let's go through each of those points about the getting rich part, about the having more free time and traveling. So becoming rich from trading is possible. It will, but it will probably take at least a decade or more. Don't believe for a second that trading can allow you to make money quickly. Again, the very best money managers, as we said before, average 20 to 40% a year. So trading is almost, I would say, the opposite of a get rich quick scheme. It will require years of learning and failing and years of compounding your money before maybe, only maybe, being able to reach the point where you technically don't have to work or trade at all. And the more free time part is also kind of laughable to me, because in my case, for 7 to 8 years, I've honestly worked every single day on my trading. I even surprised myself to actually have worked more than 70 hours some weeks. I had to learn a lot of stuff. I had to read a lot of books. I had to test a lot of things. I had to study charts. I had to develop and understand statistics. I had to study all my past trades. I had to test new hypotheses. I had to do some simulations. I had to learn how to code. I had to do some coding to make my process quicker. I had to create my trading journal. I had to improve my trading journal and adapt it to my trading strategy. I had to work on ways to improve my self-discipline, and so on, et cetera, et cetera. So trading, in my opinion, is a never-ending quest. So just be aware that trading is going to take a lot of time, especially during the first couple of years, and especially if you also have a full-time job and family responsibilities on the side. And finally, the traveling part. It is true that you can trade and work on your trading from anywhere, but just forget about the traveling lifestyle that, again, you see on Instagram with people visiting new cities every single day, and of course, trading from swimming pools again. I've traveled quite a bit, and I can tell you that from my experience, my trading suffers every time I travel. The time zones are different, so I need time to adapt to a new daily schedule. I might be flying or not have access to an internet connection right when I'm supposed to trade. I need to take my trading station with me everywhere I go. Okay, in my case, just a laptop and a portable monitor. And of course, I want to enjoy where I go, right? I want to visit many places of interest, and that gives me much less time to do all the reading and the research that I wanted to do, right? But in my experience, the most annoying thing about traveling is the time zones, to be honest. Because in some countries, I need to be on my laptop very late at night, and in some others, extremely early in the morning, and in some others, right in the middle of the day or in the middle of the afternoon. So in my humble opinion, wanting to be rich, wanting to have more free time, and wanting to be able to travel a lot is indeed possible. Yes, it's possible, but it's not only very far from what most people envision, but it will require years of work, tens of thousands of hours before you can start enjoying those perks that trading can provide you. And also never forget that trading is a not only very competitive endeavor, but it's also what I would consider an infinite game. The goal is not to win, actually. The goal is to stay in the game as long as possible. There is no real destination, but it's actually a very interesting and rewarding journey of self-improvement and self-discovery. The overwhelming majority of very successful traders, they are actually still in the game. They could easily retire by now, but they don't play for the money. They play because they love the game. They love the competitiveness, and they love the mental challenge that comes with trading. So in my case, I actually had two main reasons, two strong whys that pulled me through the trading learning curve. So the first one was that I just couldn't stand the idea of having a normal job. And this probably, I think, stemmed from the fact that I became a millionaire before my 30s, and I had a glimpse of the millionaire lifestyle thanks to my ex-boss, who actually was a multimillionaire. And after that experience, I swore to myself that I would never work for anyone again, and that I would be my own boss. And my second why was that I really wanted to be able to take care of my wife and my family. That also was a strong drive for me. I want to open a side note on relationships, because whatever you do in life that is a bit out of the ordinary, you will encounter people who will tell you that you shouldn't do it, right? And sometimes those people are even members of your family or your partner or close friends. I can't talk for everybody, but I can tell you that I am fully aware that I've been extremely lucky in that area. My parents, they have always supported my important decisions in life. And I found a life partner, my wife, that has also supported me every step of the way. So although it's a bit personal, I told you earlier that I used to be a millionaire years ago, and I actually met the girl whom I now have the privilege to call my wife, right before I lost most of my money. And she not only stayed around during very tough times in my life, but she also never stopped supporting me and believing in me. So I don't have the shadow of a doubt that I wouldn't be where I am today had my parents or my wife not be supportive. So I can't really give you an advice on what you should do if your close friends and family members are not supportive, but I can tell you that if they are, you have a huge advantage, and your chances of reaching your goal increase dramatically. So anyways, to go back to my why, once again, giving back by being able to take care of my wife was also a very strong motivation to succeed for me. And interestingly, actually, I discovered a couple of years ago that I wasn't in the trading game only for the money, but also for the challenge. I realized that when I started getting traction on social media, especially on Twitter, and I started receiving business proposals from brokers and other people who wanted to pay me to invest for advertising their product or services. And I also got invitations to many trading podcasts as well. And every single time I actually said no. I said no because I wasn't considering myself good enough as a trader at the time, even though I had been profitable and was living off my trading for a couple of years already. So this is when I realized that I wasn't only in a trading game for the money, because otherwise I would have jumped on those business proposals. So I love the personal challenge trading offers as well. It's like a huge chess game where you're competing against millions of people, and money is just a way to keep score. So really ask yourself, what is the reason why you want to become a full-time trader? And importantly, never overlook the struggles. If you really want to become a successful trader, your why will have to be strong enough so that you can withstand and push through the difficulties you will encounter along the way. And sometimes instead of asking yourself what you want, because of course everybody wants to make money trading, right? Ask yourself what you don't want. If you don't want to spend a couple of years losing money and going through the ups and downs of the trading learning curve without any guarantee of success, then trading might not be your best choice. There's no right or wrong answer to that question, by the way. You and only you have the answer. I'm not trying to discourage you from going the trading path, by the way. I just want you to have more realistic expectations and to ask yourself important questions that you may have overlooked, important questions that unfortunately you will never find in a trading book or a trading course. All right, so let's move on to the next point. So I noticed that most traders focus on the wrong objective. They are trying to make a lot of money before even knowing how to trade. It takes many years to become a doctor, right? Or to learn how to be good at any skills for that matter. When you're learning to play the piano, for instance, are you focused on the money you could make as a concert pianist? I don't think so. And actually, while you're learning to play the piano, thinking and therefore focusing on the money you could make, not only doesn't make much sense, but it also actually steals your focus away from doing what's important to learning that very skill. And the exact same thing goes with trading. Do not expect making money during the first couple of years of trading. You are learning what trading is about. You are learning how to trade. And thinking or expecting to make money during this learning period will steal your focus away from learning how to trade well and will even tend to lengthen your learning curve. That's my experience and also what I've noticed from other traders. Just to put your learning curve expectations in perspective, it took Mark Minervini, who is a very successful stock trader, and he's been featured in the Stock Market Wizard book. It took him 6 years before he finally became consistently profitable. It took Ray Barros, the legendary hedge fund manager in Hong Kong, 7 years before he became profitable. And Marty Schwartz, the Pitbull, it took him 9 long years before becoming a consistently profitable trader. But don't worry, it does not mean that it will take you 9 years before you become consistently profitable in the markets. If you focus on the right things, that you learn from the experience of the right people, you have a profitable strategy and you have a strong why, I would say that you have a good chance of becoming consistently profitable within just a couple of years. So to go back to my point, it basically means that your first objective in trading should only be to actually trade well, not to make money. But so what I mean by trading well, I think that learning how to trade well is basically learning how to become consistently profitable. And do you guys actually know what being consistently profitable actually means? Usually people think that being consistently profitable means that you're making money every month or every week. But since it's highly dependent on each trader's time frame, I think a better definition of being consistently profitable would be that any series of, let's say, 100 to 200 trades resulted in profits. And this definition can be applied to any time frame or trading strategy. Anyways, so I think that the ultimate goal is not to make $1 million or double your money as soon as possible, but it is simply to become consistently profitable. As we said before, the best hedge funds in the world average yearly returns of 20 to 40% a year. Just to give you an example, being able to generate on average 20% return a year will turn $20,000 into more than $100,000 in only 9 years. And it will turn $20,000 into $1 million in 22 years. If you were to save money to make $1 million in 22 years, you actually would have had to save more than $45,000 a year. So what are the things that you should be focusing on instead of trying to make money? I don't want to get into too much details here because it's not really the main topic I want to talk about today. But if I were to go through the different steps on how to become profitable, I would say that learn as much as you can about the markets and learn as many trading strategies as you can. You know that the general consensus is to focus on one strategy. And I really do agree with that. When you're starting your trading journey, actually, you know almost nothing about the market and the trading strategies out there, right? So I think it's better to first gain an overall view about many different trading strategies out there, so that you will better be able to then make an educated choice about what type of strategy makes more sense to you, what kind of strategy will help you reach your goals, and you will even be in a better position to create your own trading strategy based on bits and pieces borrowed from different trading strategies. Then the second point, to reach profitability, we all know the advice that says that find a strategy that fits your personality. The problem with that, in my opinion, is that we actually know very little about ourselves. Even when you think you know yourself, let me tell you that you simply don't. We know very little about how we react when money is on the line. We know very little about what we are capable of, about the stress level we are able to withstand, about the type of drawdowns we're able to stomach. And the only way to discover that is to practice with real money. No amount of paper trading and backtesting will prepare you to go through the inevitable drawdowns and losing streaks you will encounter along the way as your hard-earned money is in play. Then you will have to completely change your mode of thinking in trading and adopt a probabilistic way of thinking. Losses in trading are absolutely inevitable. The outcome of one trade is random, and the outcome of 100 trades is less random. When you can think like that, you start focusing on the outcome of one trade. You start accepting that losses are part of the normal distribution of your trading strategy, right? And you can really start focusing on trading well, on following a proven trading strategy instead of foolishly trying to make money on every single trade. And my last point would be that this is actually one of the most important points. It is to review your past trade on a regular basis. That is the single exercise that actually turned me into a profitable trader years back. I now do that every single year, and I highly encourage you to do it regularly, because you will discover your strengths, your weaknesses, what you need to work on, and whether your trading strategy actually has an edge, and you will discover ways to increase your edge. All right, so once again, we're gonna talk about money. So I really get this question very, very often, and it is, how much money do I need to be able to live off trading? So I came up with a couple of criteria, a bit of a checklist if you want to be able to trade for a living as an independent trader. Those are, in my opinion, the conditions required if you want to go full-time. The first criterion is absolutely non-negotiable. If you want to trade for a living, you have to be consistently profitable. It sounds really obvious, but I see so many traders talking about ways to increase their position size and go full-time before even actually being profitable. And there is no amount of money in the world that will be enough to make up for your incompetence as a trader. You can start with $1 million, and as long as you're not profitable, you'll probably lose it all and quit. The second criterion to be able to go full-time is that you've experienced several market conditions. That is very important, because it's easy to make money when your trading strategy is working well in the current market conditions. But as we've seen before, there is no strategy that will work all the time. And not only will your strategy have some periods where when it's out of favor in the markets, but from my experience, it's precisely during those periods that we will make the most costly mistakes as we start lacking patience, we start doubting our trading strategy, we start over trading, we start cutting our winners short, etc., etc. And also those periods where the market is not conducive to your trading strategy can sometimes last for weeks or months or even years, which brings me to my next point, which is that in order to be able to survive those, let's call them winter periods, it is more safe to have 1 or 2 years of expenses covered in your bank account. When I say expenses, I mean living expenses, of course. When you know that you could survive 2 years without making a profit, it will give you a better peace of mind and therefore will allow you to be more patient during those winter periods and trade better in general, because you will be less focused on the money and more focused on the process. Now, your objective, in my opinion, should definitely not only be to live off trading. You also want to be able to grow your account so you can enjoy ever increasing returns and even reach financial independence. And that's definitely one of my goals as well. And to do so, you need some money left after taking your living expenses off your profits. So given the fact that your yearly returns will fluctuate a lot, right? I would advise you to only go full-time when your average yearly profit could cover 2 years of living expenses. This will allow you not only to live comfortably, but also to reinvest so that your trading account grows over time and you can enjoy the power of compounding. So let's go through an example. Let's say that your monthly expenses are $1,500 a month, and your average yearly profit is 25%. So how much are 2 years of expenses? Well, that's 1,500 multiplied by 24, and that's $36,000. So how much would you need in your bank account? So like we said before, we need 2 years of living expenses covered. So that would be $36,000, right? Now, how much trading capital you need, knowing that your average yearly profit is 25%, to cover 2 years of living expenses? And that would be $144,000. So how much you would need in total? That would be $180,000. Although this number might seem quite large to some of you guys, no one said that it was going to be easy, and it is of utmost importance that you have realistic expectations. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But also, it's important to keep in mind that before quitting your job, with a 25% return per year, you can actually turn $20,000 into $186,000 in 10 years. So if you're 20 years old, you could reach that amount by 30. And if you're 40 years old, you could reach that amount by 50 years old. So it's not too bad, right? And also, don't forget that as your account grows, it will get easier and easier to cover your yearly expenses and to grow your account exponentially. But as reasonable as it is on paper, I know that a lot of people will be looking for shortcuts, for ways to get to the point where you can live off trading quicker. And there are actually some valid shortcuts, in my opinion. So before that, as a friendly reminder, what I'll be talking about next only concerns people who are consistently profitable. If you're not consistently profitable, your only objective is to reach that skill that not so many people have had the grit and discipline to acquire, right? So once you are profitable, the principle is the same. To make money, you need more money. As opposed to if you're not profitable, no amount of money in your trading account will help you make money. So let's review a couple of ways to increase your returns when you're already profitable and you either are on your way to being able to trade for a living or you are already a full-time trader. So the first point is to reduce your expenses. And that's obviously, that's something most people don't like to hear, but it's logical and makes mathematical sense. So there are many ways for you to decrease your expenses. We often don't realize it, but there are so many things that we don't really need that we spend so much money on. It could be Starbucks, it could be smoking, it could be drinking, it could be traveling, buying expensive stuff only to impress people who really don't care, etc. I think what's stopping most people to reduce their cost of living is because they kind of become slave to their way of living. You get into habits, sometimes expensive habits, and you just can't imagine something else or something less anymore. So as I told you before, I used to be a millionaire for a while years ago. I was very often hanging out with my multi-millionaire ex-boss. So I got extremely quickly used to enjoying expensive stuff, like 5-star hotels, Michelin restaurants, expensive cars, traveling business class all the time, etc. And when I started trading, I lost almost all that money because I wasn't consistently profitable. So I basically went from, oh, I don't have to work anymore, let's party every day, to, okay, now maybe I need to find a job. So I had to radically scale back my lifestyle. And I thought it would be really painful, that I really needed all that stuff. Well, since I had no choice, the transition wasn't actually that bad. And I discovered that there are so many things I thought I needed that I really didn't need. And as human beings, we're super adaptable, although we tend to forget it quickly. Another way to decrease your expenses, your living expenses, could be to relocate as well. I think very few people think about it, but as traders, we are location independent. We can technically move to any location that has the internet. So I've been living in Thailand for almost 14 years now, and it really helped me when I finally became profitable, as the cost of living here is really cheap compared to many other countries. And there are actually many countries where the cost of living is not only much cheaper, but the quality of living is actually pretty good, be it, I don't know, in South America or even Southeast Asia. So I'm not telling you to relocate, of course, but I'm just giving you one potential way to reduce your expenses, a way that you may have had overlooked. So now, instead of talking about reducing your expenses, let's talk about increasing your returns. And the first way to increase your returns when you're profitable is to use leverage. Once you're profitable, using leverage will help you increase your percentage return, although it is a double-edged sword, as it will also increase the drawdowns. So using leverage will be highly dependent on your personal capacity to handle drawdowns. If your max drawdown is, let's say 20%, by using a 2-to-1 leverage, your max drawdown will shoot to 40%. And also, lots of people, they can't handle this type of volatility in their account. And drawdown impacts your psychology. I would say that the impact of drawdowns on your psychology can also be magnified when you're trading, when trading is your only source of income, by the way. So then another way to increase your returns when you're profitable is to create other streams of income. Since you are profitable, you have more time to build other streams of income, and you could, for instance, share your knowledge through courses, through workshops or coaching, or really any type of business that could generate money actually. And all that money generated from new streams of income could be used not only to pay for your living expenses, so you don't have to withdraw money from your trading account anymore, but also to increase your trading account size by reinvesting all this additional money into it. Now, the last point is about OPM. The third way to increase your returns is directly actually related to the fact that you are profitable. Many traders are desperately trying to double their accounts by doing so, they actually lengthen their trading learning curve because they focus on quick returns instead of consistency. And let me tell you that just averaging 20% a year would not only place you in the top 5% of all traders in the world, but it will also attract money from other people who dream of being able to get better returns than just leaving their money in the bank or in a life insurance package where they will get at most between 1% to 4% a year. So that's actually what happened to me 3 years ago. People around me learned that I was a trader and that I had been living from my trading for several years. So they started approaching me, and after I showed them my results, and I showed them that I actually knew what I was talking about, which is usually the case when you spend tens of thousands of hours trying to get better at something. They started asking me about whether I would manage some of their money. And they talked to other people around them who also had money to invest. And in a relatively short period of time, I was managing $1.5 million from friends and family. So I get 20% of the profits on that $1.5 million. And of course, I don't charge managing fees since I'm not a hedge fund and they take all the risks. So if, for instance, I make a reasonable 20% return 1 year, I will get $60,000 on top of my own trading profits to pay for my living expenses and to add to my trading account, which is now growing more rapidly since I don't need to withdraw money anymore, and compounding does its job pretty well. All right, so those are 4 possible ways to either accelerate your way toward being able to trade for a living or increase your income when you're already living off trading. And once again, they all depend on one thing and one thing only. They depend on you being consistently profitable. So work your ass off, find a strategy that is profitable, and focus not on making money as fast as possible, but on becoming consistently profitable. Never ever forget that just 20% a year will open many doors for you. All right, so we've reached the end of my presentation. I'd like first to thank you all for watching. I hope it was not too long. Meanwhile, oh yes, I forgot to mention that I'm going to release within the next week or so something I've been working on for the last 12 months, which is my trading course, in which I will explain in details the trading strategy I spent the last 10 years developing and improving. This is the trading strategy I use every day, which is the very strategy that allows me to live off my trading. So if you are interested, you can subscribe for free on my website, lonestocktrader.com. And upon subscribing, you will also receive a free ebook in which I explain how I was able to turn my trading around and become consistently profitable in the markets. And also, after you subscribed, you will also get notified as soon as my course is released. Otherwise, I'm also quite active on Twitter. So if you want to connect or follow me, my handle is @LoneStockTrader. So once again, thank you guys for listening. I really hope that you enjoyed the presentation. So I'm gonna give the focus back to Rainer.
Okay, Fred, thank you for your presentation. So before you go, right, I just want to spend about 10 to 15 minutes to answer a number of questions, right, that have come through. So for any of you who have questions for Fred, okay, you can ask it in the Q&A box. So to kick things off, Fred, right, the first question for you is, I've got a question from PT, right, who asks you, right, are you a systematic trader or a discretionary trader, and what is the time frame that you trade from?
Okay, that's a very interesting question, actually. I'm what I would call a rule-based discretionary trader. So that means that I use well-defined rules, but some of these rules have actually discretion in it, so they require my judgment. So it's kind of a hybrid approach. And about my time frame, actually, I don't need to watch my positions during the day. So I would say it's more like between swing and position trading. It's actually momentum trade. It's actually momentum trading.
Okay, and next question from Oin Tanda, who asks you, right, since trading takes years to become profitable, and when you decided to trade for a living, don't you feel hopeless, right, when you haven't reached a point where you are making more profit, right? So how do you kind of overcome that issue where
Okay,
things,
yeah.
yeah.
I actually experienced that many times during my trading learning curve. But as I said in the presentation, you need a very strong why, a very strong reason to do so, because this reason that will actually help you during those very difficult periods that we will all encounter along the way. So you need a very strong why that will pull you through these periods.
All right, and next one from Cleofi, who asks you, right, do you have any advice on how to manage your psychology during drawdowns?
During drawdowns, well, what really there are several things that helps me actually. Meditation practice is one of them, of course. Also, sharing my thoughts on social media is another one, because it really helps me move on quickly when I have a drawdown or something like that. And I would say that talking to other experienced traders as well really help in that case. But I'm not talking about trading setups or strategies. I'm more talking about the psychological part, and you can find those traders on social media, or actually Twitter is a very good place to start.
All right, and next one, right? Moving on from Ola, who asks, right? With tons of information on trading by all the different expert traders out there, right? What qualities should a newbie look out for in this type of gurus or expert traders out there?
All right, that's a very tough one. Actually, I don't have much experience in that because I'm self-taught. I never really had a mentor. Actually, I only learned what I know through books and through experience. So I would say that you need to have a good feel that those guys are actually trading or have a lot of experience in trading. And so some of them actually share their performance. And I would say that if they only talk, for instance, about their winning trades or this kind of stuff, you already know that they are not really trading, because trading, like I said before, losses, for instance, are absolutely inevitable in trading. And if you see that they have 90% win rate or this kind of stuff, those are really red flags. So go for the people who are making maybe less money. They show that they are making less money, but they are the real ones, the ones that really trade, the one that really have experience in trading. And I would go for those guys instead.
All right, and question from Anonymous, right? That's interesting question, right? What are things that you do not spend money on anymore?
All right. I would say very expensive bottle of wines. And I used to fly first class, and I really scaled back, and I flew economics until last year, when I was able to actually fly a business again. Other than that, I don't care about fancy cars anymore. I don't care about fancy watches anymore. all this stuff, I really realized that it wasn't really for me, that it was more for the status, you know, to showing off to other people. And you really don't need to do that in your life, because it's not how you will live a fulfilling life, in my opinion.
All right, nice. All right, and next one from GM, right, who ask you, what does consistently profitable mean for a trader? Is it monthly profits, annual profits, etc.?
All right, so yeah, I talked about that in my presentation, and I thought a lot about that, and I came up with this definition, which applies to any time frame and any trading style, which is that in your past trades, if any series of 100 to 200 trades resulted in profits, then you can say that you're consistently profitable.
All right. And moving on from Arnie, who asked you, right, would you suggest paper trading until you have found a good trading setup, or is the psychological aspect too important to ignore for that matter?
I would say that paper trading is good at the very beginning, just to get used to a trading platform, and also as well to check whether some patterns actually have an edge in the market. But one thing is sure, is that there will be a huge discrepancy when you start trading with real money if you were paper trading before. So I think it's a good thing, paper trading, but don't count on that to become profitable. That's for sure.
All right. And moving on from Jia Ying, who asked you, right, which market do you trade as a full-time trader?
Yeah, I only trade the US stock market, and I only trade individual US stocks. I've been, I would say that I've become an expert on that, because I've been trading only those individual US stocks for more than 10 years now.
Okay, any like specific category, like the large cap, mid cap, or small cap?
I would say that it's more in the, I usually trade giant caps and large caps, so it's more medium caps, small caps, and even sometimes micro caps if the volume is here.
All right. And moving on from Dave, who asked you, right, how do you structure the account, right, when you trade other people's money?
Oh, yeah. So right now, it's really friends and family. So there is absolutely nothing official. So right now, what they did is that they just gave me access to their trading platform, and that's how I trade their accounts. But I think in the future, I will have, if I get more money, because I got more money coming my way, we'll have to open a very clean structure, and we'll have to create like a hedge fund structure.
Okay, and from Shailesh, who asked you, right, doesn't managing other people's money take away the freedom for which one became a full-time trader in the first place? Like, you know, the clients, they are more bossy, they have certain requirements, etc.
I think that's a very good question, and you will have to be extremely picky with your let's call them customers, because you really don't want the type of people who don't understand how trading works, or they don't understand how your strategy works, and they don't understand that there are going to be periods of weeks or months where you're gonna maybe underperform or even not make any profits. So when you get to know someone who is interested in investing with you, you need to spend quite a lot of time to explaining them exactly what they have to expect and how your strategy works, so that when you start trading for them, they will actually understand exactly your trading process, and they will not call you on the phone every 5 minutes. And actually, right now I'm trading 3 different accounts, and I have to say that none of them actually call me. None of them. So
fantastic.
Yeah,
all right,
pretty good.
Okay, so another 3 more questions for you, Fred, before we let you go. So
Sure.
The third last question, right, is from I think it's anonymous, right, who asked, you know, when you mentioned the importance of, you know, reviewing your trades, right? So how do you actually, you know, review your trades? What are the stuff do you have to write down, or, you know, do you have to write down every trade that you make, or what are some of the metrics or parameter that I need to write down?
Okay, so the first step is, of course, to record all your trades. So you have to have a trading journal in which you're going to record so where you enter, the date, the number of shares, all that stuff. And also you will record the mental part as well, how you felt when you entered, how you felt when you exited the trade. And you also need to record the chart upon entry and the chart upon exit, for instance. And so once you have that, it will make it extremely easy for you to go back and review the trades to see whether you actually have made mistakes. And when I say mistake, a mistake is when you failed to follow your trading plan. That's it. So this is how you can review your past trades.
All right. And second last question from Anonymous, who asks you, right, what are the books, right, you would suggest for starters, or the books that, you know, has really helped your trading?
Okay, so I cannot really talk for everybody here, because I think you have we have a lot of forex traders and other type of maybe options traders and futures traders, but I'm only focused on trading stocks. So when it comes to stocks, I would definitely recommend the book from William O'Neill, which is How to Make Money in Stocks. And I will also recommend the book, the 3 books from Mark Minervini about trading, and a book that can be applied for, 2 books that actually can be applied for every type of traders would be on the mindset would be, what's that? The Mark Douglas book, Rainer, can you help me on that? The Mark Douglas,
Is it
Trading in the Zone.
Oh, trading, Mark Douglas, okay, Trading in the Zone, yeah.
Yeah, Trading in the Zone. And more generally, I would say that any book from Dr. Van Tharp are extremely valuable, because they will teach you the R multiple concept, which is extremely important when you're a trader.
Okay, and one last question from Vicky, who asks whether you could shed some light on your money management techniques when you're trading.
Money management techniques, okay. Well, I have different types of setups, but I mainly used, so for one type of setup, I will use fixed percentage. It's based on my back testing as well, and on my reviewing of all my past trades. So I always use fixed percentage stop loss, initial stop loss. And for other setups, I will use ADR stop losses. And when it comes to exiting, when in a profitable trade, I will always use moving averages. This is how I train my stop, because I will never know when to exit exactly. And if I exit before, I could be missing on a huge trade that could make my whole year.
Okay, and that's all I have for you, Fred. So thank you so very much for your time to do up this presentation just for Traders Fest. I appreciate it, as well as, you know, the audience. We thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure.
All right, see you then, Fred. Bye-bye.
See you. Cheers.